people who tend to be compulsively looking after the emotional needs of others and ignoring their own. People who are identified with their duty and role and responsibility rather than also the needs of the self. People who repress their healthy anger. There was a study in the States not that long ago that looked at 2,000 women over 10 years. Those women that were unhappily married and didn't talk about it were 4 times as likely to die as those women who were unhappily married and did express their emotions. So the issue wasn't happiness or unhappiness. The issue was, did they express it? Because the immune system is connected to the emotions. When you're repressing your emotions, you're also repressing your immune system in certain ways. Now, the final characteristic is people who believe that A, they're responsible for other people feel, and B, they must never disappoint anybody. Now, if you look at this culture in ways, now, the final characteristic is people who believe that A, they're responsible for other people feel, and B, they must never disappoint anybody. Now, if you look at this culture between the two major genders, which is the one that's programmed by this particular culture to take care of others emotionally while ignoring their own needs, including their spouses? Which is the ones who are told to identify with their duties rather than the needs of the self? Which is the one that is taught not to be angry, they must repress their anger? And which is the one that's made to feel responsible for other people feel? It's not exclusive to women, but by and large it is women. And so that's why there's more autoimmune disease amongst women. And the more stress and the more social oppression people experience, the greater the risk for all these conditions. So women of color are even more likely to have autoimmune disease than Caucasian women. And in Canada, where I live, Indigenous women have 6 times the rate of rheumatoid arthritis than that of somebody else. 6 times. This is in a population that never used to have autoimmune disease at all. So what we're talking about is that emotions can't be separated from your physiology. You cannot be separated from your environment. And that means when you have an illness, that's not just a manifestation of pathology in a particular organ in an isolated body, but it's a manifestation of a lifelong process of a life that grew up in a certain environment, in a certain culture, in certain relationships. So to understand the source of disease, you have to look way beyond the individual organ, individual body, and look at their social situation and their emotional dynamic.
Why am I writing a book about codependency, Cassandra syndrome, highly sensitive persons, empaths, and highly intuitive people, specifically to help women? This is the reason. There are women who work, cook, clean, nurse, become therapists, and many other things to their families. If this woman does not see the value in herself, she will likely become the family's sacrifice, sacrificing her dreams, her truths, her goals, and her energy to try to meet the expectations placed on women in society. These expectations are so unfair and, quite frankly, pretty crazy, because how can one expect anyone to perform like this every single day for their whole life, especially someone with generational trauma? This woman may carry herself as a low value woman because of one thing she's not good at, or maybe she doesn't make a lot of money, or maybe she is not a great cook. Maybe she isn't good at cleaning the house. Maybe she's dealing with chronic fatigue and pain and headaches, and it makes everything that a woman is expected to do more difficult to achieve. Negative perceptions of lack become the focus of a woman in this situation because she was raised to believe the only value a woman can bring is by fulfilling societal expectations. After years of trying to live up to unrealistic expectations, it's difficult to see the divine power of her ability, which she uses to take care of her family. She will not expect to be respected for all that she does. Neither will she expect to be reciprocated, although she may feel underappreciated. Culture has brainwashed many of us to believe that's what a woman should do because every woman before me did what I'm trying to do. We must pull away from romanticizing burden that was glorified by the generations of women before us carrying these burdens, allowing us to see that's not the standard of a high value woman. That is simply a reflection of the past patriarchal system used as a tool of oppression on one of the most powerful beings in this universe and beyond. Burdens such as this is the reason we are here to acknowledge and clear from our quantum field of consciousness the need to strive to be loved and appreciated. When two people are in a relationship and it seems as if the spark has went out, oftentimes this is due to a subconscious feeling of unworthiness, which creates patterns of feeling unworthy of being truly appreciated. This energetically creates a vortex around both parties, and they may non-verbally and energetically exchange vibrations, emitting a signature transmitting to one another that we do not appreciate each other as much as we could because we have difficulty appreciating ourselves. Trauma can lead us to feeling constant stress with everything on our plate, trying to fit into the gender roles and corresponding expectations. Though we desire to feel liberated, we are often too exhausted to work through it or even talk about it. This is the result of being taught to be a nice woman at the expense of your own desires and perspectives. There isn't anything wrong with being nice if you're being honest and living from your heart. But if you are being nice, hoping to please someone outside of you, you are actually being codependent, and the way you feel will be remotely controlled by the way they respond to your nice actions and words. Being nice without acknowledging your own state of being is exhausting and damaging to every aspect of your well-being. This is something I call when fawning is no longer fun. I'll explain this more in the excerpts from the upcoming book, Turning Pain into Purpose and Power. Namaste, Numiste.